What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and it's that vlog time once again. Yes, that's right. We have a lot of different topics to talk about, and this is the best format for me to do it in. So I figured what better time to do a vlog than now. I didn't do a vlog last week because, honestly, I'm thinking about kind of switching up the system a little bit. I've been doing a vlog every single week, and it's been a bit, cumbersome. I've been vaping the same stuff for 2 weeks in a row, and it gets to be a little bit dry and boring after a little while. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is switch it up to make my vlogs, between 45 minutes and an hour long, but do it every other week. So that way I have more stuff to talk about and more content and more entertainment for that matter. And also I'm going to be starting my other, sub little things that I've got going on. I've got the Versus series that I want to do. I've got a few other series that I want to get started for this channel, so the best way for me to do that is to kind of take a little step back in the vlog department, but also, just get more videos done. So I'll still have a video at the beginning of every single week, but in this kind of format here, we're going to change it up to every other week we're going to have a vlog, and every other week we're going to have a Versus video or one of the other series that I'm going to be starting. So it's just kind of a, not quite a format change really, because it's going to be the same old vlog, but we're going to have a lot more stuff packed in. It might be a little bit longer. These videos tend to last about 45 minutes, so I'm shooting for around an hour for a good old vlog there. But with that, I'll have a lot more to talk about because I don't get a lot of new stuff in. I don't have a lot to talk about every single week. This week just so happens to be packed. Stuff went on last week that I really wasn't able to get into because I pre-record these videos and the news happened on the day it was released. So with that, I have some interesting advocacy stuff to talk about that I learned about last week. That's kind of why I didn't do a vlog last week, was because I wanted to get some clarification and basically learn a little bit more about the situation before I just go out and spout, nonsense about what's going on. But with that, we've got a lot to talk about in this video here. We're going to start it off with some first impressions. I've got what I've been vaping on. We're going to do a beer o'clock. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy some beer later. We've got a little bit of vape drama, kind of a follow-up vape drama sort of thing. And to cap it all off, we've got some advocacy as well. Like I said, lots to talk about on the advocacy front this week. I'm feeling a little bit burdened right now, but I do have a lot of stuff I want to get off my chest. With that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, so getting right into it, we've got some first impressions. And what are we going to be talking about today? Well, this guy right here, actually, the Geek Vape Karma RDTA/RDA. This is another combo from our friends over at Geek Vape. This was actually sent to me by the people at GearBest, so thank you, GearBest. Really do appreciate it. You'll see a full review in the near future of this guy here. So just decided to break it out of the package today and put a build on there and try it out for this video here, just as a little first impressions for you guys. So first and foremost, this is another one of those combos, so you can switch it from an RDTA to an RDA. Now, I'm still in the same class as, I would rather them do one thing right than two things kind of half-assed, and that's kind of the same true with this one here. But they did get a few things right that Coil Art did not. And first and foremost being the filling mechanism. This one has a side fill. When you take the cap off, you can just fill it with that hole right there. And it just has regular old side airflow rather than bottom airflow. It's kind of going after what VGod did with the Trick Tank Pro. VGod has the Trick Tank Pro, which has bottom airflow similar to the Kennedy, but they also have a filling mechanism as well, and it's a two-post velocity style deck, and that's what this one is here. So a lot of these like combo RDTAs are kind of going for, a little bit of everything. They're grabbing pieces and parts from different devices, and they're just kind of mashing them all together. And this one has a lot of things that I do like. I like the deck on it. It's a two-post velocity style deck. In fact, they actually reference that on the back of the box. It says velocity structure. So I think it's kind of funny that they mentioned that. I think Dino and Cisco will get a kick out of it. I haven't gotten any major leaking so far. One thing that did kind of concern me was the fact that I looked at my tank halfway through the day, and I noticed it was kind of cockeyed. The top half was not seated right. And I can only imagine it's when I took off the, all the parts so that I could throw on these little teal O-rings in there. I wanted to make it all nice and matchy-matchy. That when I screwed it back on and built it up and everything like that, I just didn't catch the threads just right, and for some reason it was sitting kind of cockeyed. Either that, or it could just be the fact that the O-ring was a little bit mushed somewhere and it wasn't making a good connection, because I did hear kind of a crunchy sound when I did fix it, but that kind of was concerning to me. Now it's sitting up nice and straight. When I look at it, it looks nice. But before, it just kind of had this like angled look to it. And it really, really threw me off. Like, seriously, I was in the shop and I was talking to customers, and like in the middle of a sentence, I'm like, that's crooked. But with that, yeah, just kind of weird. I don't know if it's going to happen to everybody. Maybe I'm just dumb or whatever, but it happened. So the other thing you'll notice is this drip tip here. This is actually a Half Moon Mods tip. This is a fat bastard for the Kennedy that I just put on there. It didn't actually fit in the drip tip. This I had to slightly modify by adding a ring of tape to it, but I think it looks really nice, and it just kind of extends it, because one thing you'll notice about this is the drip tip itself that comes stock is super, super short. It's almost uncomfortable short. It is a chunk of Delrin, but the sleeve here, it's kind of like a wrapping on the outside, because you can thread this piece off, and it's just a metal threads underneath. Not sure why they went with that. I don't think there's an extra adapter. I could be wrong. Don't quote me or anything, but I'm going to have to dig through the box and see if there's a 510 adapter. But I wanted to add this tip because it just kind of adds a little bit of length to it. It matches really nice, and it's a little bit more comfortable for me. So add it on the tip as well, and I think it works great, and I like it better this way because the tip is just too damn short when you have it stock like that. I don't know. I'm sure you guys out there that really like the shorty drip tips are going to love that, but for me personally, not a huge fan. But other than that, it's an RDTA, pretty much standard. The airflow is good. It's got 3 holes in it that are kind of slightly angled, and you can control it. You can shut it off if you want to. You can turn it down to 2 holes or 1 hole or whatever you want to do there. It's got a fill hole, which is a nice touch. It's got a decent juice capacity. I've probably filled this thing about five or 6 times today already, but with that, it's kind of standard stuff. You guys are probably used to this by now. You've seen a ton of them by iJoy, by Limitless, by Coil Art, and all these other companies are coming out with stuff that are very similar to this. But that is my first impressions on the Geek Vape Karma RDTA / RDA. I'm going to have to switch it over to RDA mode at some point and use it like that. One final little thing is they did get that right. I like how you actually switch this over from one system to the other. I think they did a pretty good job on that, but that will be determined in the final review. The only other thing I wanted to talk about in this little intro section is t-shirts. We had talked about it in my last video, but I wanted to make another mention of it here because they're only going to be on sale until the 21st of this month, so get them now while they last. I'll have a link in the description below if you want to get them there from teespring.com/dailyvapetv. Also, I'll have a design up here. I've got 4 different colors to choose from: red, blue, purple, and black, and you can also get hoodies as well. For you guys out there that love hoodies like I do, you can get yourself a hoodie. They're available from extra small all the way up to 5X. So get them now while you can. I'm probably not going to release this design ever again. I will have more, and hopefully after this first run, I'll be able to do another run right away. So with that, I will keep you guys posted on that. If you guys want to see teasers or anything like that, just drop a comment below or whatever. But that's about all I wanted to talk about in this little intro section. So let's move on to what I've been vaping on. All right, so I guess we'll start right here with the Karma RDTA since I've already got it in my hand. Obviously, the Karma RDTA by Geek Vape. I'm running a 10-spaced dual coil, stainless steel wire, 24 gauge, coming in right about 0.2 on the money. Vaping a little bit light, about 89 watts. I don't know why 89, just kind of the number I ended up with. But with that in the tank, I've got some of this stuff right here, Bam Bam's Captain's Cannoli, and this is a Captain Crunch cannoli. and I didn't think I would like it, you know, just based on the smell. I didn't really think I would, you know, get too into it, but honestly, once I started vaping it, like I said, I've filled this tank, you know, 5-6 times today, and now I am in love. This flavor is so good. I can't get enough of it. And the coolest thing about the Bam Bam's cannoli line is you don't just get one 30 ml bottle, you get 3. They come in these boxes here. They come in these cool boxes. You get 3 30 ml unicorn bottles. Yeah, and that's kind of cool because you can reuse these if you wanted to. But it's just kind of cool that you get 3 bottles instead of just one giant bottle. So very convenient for the on-the-go vapor such as myself. You throw this in your pocket and you're good to go. So that is what is in there. On the Relo 200S, of course. Just before I built this device today, I had my Kennedy, wherever it ran off to, my Kennedy. So let's just slap that back on there. I was vaping this about 110 watts-ish, and I actually stole the drip tip off of here to go on the Karma, but we'll put it back on the Kennedy real quick. This one is another one that I've been vaping on. Kennedy 25, still with the same Jumbo Fuse Clapton build. I really like the Jumbo Fuse Clapton build in this device right here. The 25 millimeter has plenty enough room for it, you know, nice wide spanning coils, and the fact that it doesn't heat up too much or anything like that is great. What am I vaping in here? Oh, yeah, I'm vaping some of this Cali Vapors. Hearst Castle. I believe this is like some sort of melon and cream flavor, I think. I got this in, you know what, it's funny, I got this in a Craft Vapory box, but Lucy also sent me some from Streamline Vapor Co. So thanks, Lucy, really appreciate it. I didn't really dip into it after I did my Craft Vapory unboxing, so it just kind of sat in the drawer for a while, but I know I've seen it a million times before. I feel like I've gotten it in other subscription boxes as well, but not only that, like I've just seen Cali Vapors everywhere. I don't know why, but I've just seen it everywhere, and I decided to give it a go. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by this flavor. Haven't had a good melon and cream since Kilo's, what was it called? Dewberry Cream. That's what it was, Dewberry Cream. That one was really good. This one has an extra little hint of flavor. I think I read online that these are also 60% VG, 40% PG, so it's a little bit on the thinner side. Still plenty good for dripping though, I gotta be honest with you. I was kind of surprised. I believe these are 60-40 VG, but it's still pretty thick. It's good thick, and you get good vapor out of it, so I'm pretty happy. Throat hit doesn't seem to be a problem with it either, so let's go ahead and have a vape on this one. That is really, really good stuff. Honestly, haven't had a really good melon and cream in a long time, so I felt like this one was going to be the best option for me right now. And yeah, pretty satisfied with my choice, so there we go. The next thing I've got for you guys is the old Tempest 200 watt with the Modfather tank on top. You guys have been seeing this for the past couple weeks, and my video on it is coming up soon. I don't think I have any reviews to do this week. I don't know. I'll have to take a look at my schedule. But with that, I'm going to get to this review pretty soon. I might actually do some sort of, you know, vintage vape gear sort of thing. I have a whole bunch of like my old gear that I've used, you know, way in the past that's been sitting in a drawer forever or something like that. Might actually do a small series or, you know, short series on that just as kind of a throwback, you know. Sometimes it's good to just dig out the old stuff and use it for a little while. You know, maybe like this Monster V2. Is that a V2? V2 or V3? I can't remember. I have both, but I don't know. Maybe we'll do that. But in any case, in the tank today is some Mother's Milk and Cookies. And oh my God, I've been letting this one steep since Vape Showcase Dallas. And oh my God, it is so good right now. I'm just about at the end of my bottle, and I gotta say, such a good flavor. Suicide Bunny just nailed it with that. And it's like one of those like limited releases, so you can't get it all the time, I guess. And it's a little bit harder to get your hands on a bottle, but it's so worth it, especially with this much steep time to it. You can kind of see the color of it here. It is dark, but that just means it's even better. So Alien coils in here, vaping at 110 watts, and let's go ahead and take a rip on this one. Woo! Oh yeah, that is good stuff. And let me tell you, one thing I really like about this setup is that it sits pretty much flush on this Tempest mod. It hangs over on my 200S, but it sits almost flush. There's a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of a little edge here, but it's not bad. It's definitely more aesthetically pleasing than on the 200S, but in either case, I go for more function over fashion anyways, though you might mistake, you know, matchy-matchy drip tip and mod here for me being a tiny bit vain, but yeah, I like function. This tank, I fill it once a day, I vape it all day long at 100 watts, and it just lasts, so that is definitely good for me. The next setup I've got is this guy. Actually, we'll talk about this little guy here. This is the Innokin Coolfire Pebble. I did my review on it not too long ago. Been just vaping this thing constantly since then. I've got it in its, you know, dripper configuration. I decided to dig out the dinghy atomizer from Flawless and throw it on here just to kind of challenge myself a little bit, I suppose. On here, I've got a 8-wrap. I think it's an 8-wrap fuse Clapton using 28 gauge as the core and 36 nichrome as the outer wire, 2.5 millimeters. It's coming in right at 0.92, vaping at 38 watts. I don't know why 38. I could have went with 40, but I feel like just I landed on 38 and I was happy with it there. So 38 watts, single coil, and today I'm dripping some of this stuff right here, Pierre's Toast. Again, I'm not a real big breakfast kind of fan. I'm more into the straight fruits, but this one is a mixed berry French toast, and oh my god, I've been digging it. The cinnamon in this is kind of on the lighter side, which I prefer. And the berries just kind of add that little tiny bit of added sweetness. And it's just right. You know, with this kind of configuration here, it's not a hell of a lot of cinnamon because it's not giving me massive clouds or anything like that. But for a nice, tiny little stealthy drip setup, this thing absolutely rips. And I shall demonstrate thusly. So this thing is like my little sleeper mod because you don't expect it to hit as hard as it would, but damn, this thing can actually rip. So yeah, it's a pretty neat little setup. I love just having it out on the counter when I'm at work. People always just ask me about it, and I have to demonstrate the cloud that it can produce because it is quite amazing that that little tiny mod can produce that much vapor with a dripper setup. And last but not least is the old rig pig. Again, I've got the same old coils on here. I don't really like screwing up a good thing. Once I find my happy spot, I just stay right there. I don't bother rebuilding if I don't have to, and this is definitely one of those builds. Fused Claptons, 28 gauge, no, 26 gauge Canthal and 36 gauge Nichrome. Amazing flavor, amazing vapor production. It's safe. It's just such a good build. Honestly, an amazing build. I think I got 8 wraps in there. Dual coil, and I haven't rebuilt it in probably close to 2 months now, probably a month and a half, and I'm not gonna rebuild it anytime soon. I have no plans on rebuilding. Actually, I lied. I do have plans on rebuilding it soon because I will be doing a new coil for it. I've got a new build that I'm kind of working on right now for it that I'm going to be trying out for a Fresh Build Friday episode, but that's going to come in probably a week or so. But with that, on there, I'm vaping Scruples, Voodoo Vape Scruples, one of my favorites. Like, seriously, super good stuff. That I forget, did I mention that in my best of? My next favorite is Scruples by Voodoo Vapes. That is just like one of those really random, unique, awesome flavors. Yellow peach, lychee, and hibiscus, I think, is the actual flavor profile, and it's fantastic. It's such a good combination. It's sweet, but not too sweet. It's got that little hint of floralness to it, but it's just the right amount, and it's something I can vape all day long without stopping, seriously. I just absolutely love this setup, so let's go ahead and have a rip on this one. One thing I really need to get from my rig pig to really make a big time upgrade is the 2-post Roughneck V2, because I love two-post RDAs, and the one thing that this setup is missing is a good two-post. Since you can only use the roughneck on here, I feel it's only appropriate that I actually go out and get one of those for myself. So perhaps I might do that before I do my next rig pig build, but in any case, let's go ahead and move on. I think it might be beer o'clock. Well, would you look at that? It is beer o'clock, and I have been dying to get to this one for quite some time. It was either one thing or the other. I just couldn't get to it. This beer has been sitting on my desk for the past 2 weeks, and I haven't been able to drink it because I wanted to do it on camera. This is Founders Brewing KBS. This is probably going to be one that Grim is jealous of because this is one of those ones that is very sought after. People like trade them. They are worth more than they originally cost, especially if they're older. And this only gets better with age. So this is a 2016 release, which means it's been aging since last year when they released it. So this one is already pretty old, and I think it's time it got drank. So drunk, whatever. So anyways, this is Founders Brewing Company from Grand Rapids, Michigan. This is 12.4% alcohol by volume, and it's a bourbon barrel-aged stout. So pretty excited about this. They have a few different versions. They have KBS, which is Kentucky Bourbon Stout. They also have, I think, a CBS, which is Canadian Bourbon Stout. So, yeah, I haven't gotten one of those yet. I'm going to have to look around for one to try it out for myself. But I am dying to try out this beer. The stouts are always better almost at room temperature. This one's probably about, I'd say, about 45 degrees. You only want to chill them for, maybe half an hour tops, really. You don't want it too freezing cold because then it just ruins the flavor of the beer. So I only threw this in the fridge about half an hour ago, and now it's time to enjoy it. So let's get right into it. I've got my Wallet Ninja, which has a bottle opener on it. So, oh yes, gonna keep that one, keep that cap. All right, let's go ahead and pour this guy up. Got my tulip glass here, and this one you don't want to pour too much. You just want to, about a 10-ounce pour, maybe 8 to 10 ounces. So I still have a little bit left in the glass there. Yeah, this stuff is black. Black as night, can't see light through it. Nice, dark, rich, chocolatey looking head. Oh, it smells of bourbon, yeah. Smells really oaky, really rich and malty, and oh man, there's nothing much like, the smell of a nice stout. And you kind of want to just swirl it around a little bit and check out the lacing. The lacing on this thing is not sticking around too long, but it is very much dark brown, just like the head. I've been aching to get into this one. Let's go ahead and have a taste. Oh, that is so good. And yeah, it's a little slightly boozy. It's got that slight burn to the back of the throat, but in a certain sense, it is smooth for what it is. It is a 12.4% beer, which means it's way up there as far as, the scale goes, I suppose. But this one here, you kind of expect it to be a little bit, boozy tasting. It's got that little bit of bourbon bite to it, and the finish on it, though, is so smooth and malty and almost like, I don't know, caramel or something like that. It's very sweet tasting. That got that nice hint of sweetness right at the end of the taste to it. But yeah, really good stuff. For the mouthfeel, it's kind of dry feeling, and I feel like that has to do with the alcohol, the actual alcohol content of it. Just kind of dries your mouth out a little bit. Similar to when you're taking a sip of bourbon or something like that. Just, you can feel the alcohol just kind of like constricting your blood vessels, and it's just weird. It's a weird feeling, but at the same time, it's so good. It's so nice. I have to have another sip right now. Oh, yeah. And you really don't want these to be too freezing cold. You want to just have a little bit of chill on it, because otherwise you're not gonna get the same effect. You really can't find all the subtle hints of flavor when it's so cold. You're really almost concentrating more on the coldness rather than the actual flavor of the alcohol or the beer in this case. And that is not something I like to do. I like to get the flavor from whatever I'm drinking on. That's why I drink, craft beer, is because I like the flavor of beer itself. So yeah, this one is top notch. It's pretty close to a 5-star, if not a 5-star. Yeah, I'm just going to have one more sip and then we're going to pair this thing up. Oh man, I haven't had a KBS in a very long time. It's probably been about 4 years or something like that since I've had a KBS, and I'm just kind of savoring this moment right now. One interesting thing is the head on this, right around the edge of the glass, actually gets like darker or looks darker. I'm not sure if that's an optical illusion or if that actually is something. If anyone knows why, make sure you comment below. But let's pair this one up. I've got my Von Earl here, and this has some Cutwood tobacco trail, and I feel like this is going to pair up really nicely because this is kind of like a honey-cured tobacco with it's almost like a graham crackery taste to it as well. I think that'll pair really nicely with this one here, so let's check it out. Oh yeah. Those two flavors definitely complement each other. I find that the kind of honey flavor in this complements the maltiness of this because it kind of contrasts each other just right. And also the tobacco flavor kind of brings out the boozy kind of flavor in the beer as well. So it kind of brings out that like bourbon barrel agedness of the actual stout. And it just brings it all together. And oh my God, this is such a good experience. Wish you guys were here to try this out right here. If any of you out there love beer like I do, this is just such a good combination. Honestly, you could probably get a, maybe not a KBS if you don't have KBS local to you. If you can't get your hands on one, then pretty much any bourbon barrel aged stout will work in the same senses. But this one in particular just has the right combination of everything, and it's just kind of merging all together when you have a vape on this one. So we're going to pair it up one more time and then we'll just call it right there. So let's go ahead and have a vape. The only other thing I would say about this particular pairing here is the Von Earl. I feel like it kind of plays a key role in this whole situation because it's just that experience. You puff on it. It's just a little light puff. You're not getting a crazy amount of vapor production or anything like that. But I'm, doing a mouth-to-lung inhale on this and then taking a little sip of beer, and it's just an experience. You can close your eyes and you just imagine like this wave of flavor just going over your tongue, and it's amazing. So yeah, I would really suggest trying it out in a Von Earl itself or a similar, mouth to lung style device, because that way you are getting pure flavor. So wow, this has been amazing. I'm going to finish this beer and we'll move on to the next segment. Vape drama alert. That's right, we've got some juicy vape drama for you guys this week, and this one is somewhat of a clarification, and there's some new information out there. More of a follow-up to last week's vape drama, or the last time I did vape drama, which was Apple hates vaping, and that still remains true, although Daniel, aka DJ LSB Vapes, chimed in right after I posted that video and kind of clarified a few things for me, which I was unaware of at the time when I was recording it, which is mainly the fact that any app that advertises using targeted ads, specifically using vape companies in their advertisements, will not be able to update their apps, or new apps will not be able to be uploaded to the App Store if they have targeted ads using vape companies in their advertisements. So what that means basically is these apps that you see nowadays with vape shops and e-liquid companies and everything else in the banner ad sections are not going to be able to be updated, and they're probably going to either get rid of those ads altogether and either charge for their app to make it worth having an app on the App Store, or they're going to use generic ads. So instead of vape companies being advertised in the banner ads, they're going to have stuff like Amazon and everything else that people use to generate some revenue to make it so that they can offer their app for free on the actual App Store. Now, as far as I know right now, this does not affect Google Play whatsoever, so I'm not sure if they're going to have two versions of their own app, one with targeted ads, one without targeted ads. I'm not sure, but thank you, Daniel, for clarifying that. I really do appreciate your help in this matter, because I, for one, don't like misleading people. I like giving you guys the honest truth about things that are going on in our industry, and he made it very, very cut and dry, very clear that it's not just all vape apps going away. He also made it clear that things won't change for supplementary apps such as like Ohm's law calculators and wattage, calculators and stuff like that. The things that don't have targeted ads in them will not be changed whatsoever and can still be updated. So thank you, Daniel, for your help on that matter. I really do appreciate the clarification, and that just goes to show that, the community at large here is definitely a big help. And, sometimes things aren't quite as bad as you might think they are, but just keep your eyes on this situation because it is still, of course, developing. But with that, this is kind of a complete 180 turn, full stop here. This is Apple loves vaping, and what I mean by that is Apple, at the time when I was recording the last vlog that I did, I saw a video on Apple coming out with new technology, and a new patent to actually patent technology that would be used for vaporization, and there's been a lot of speculation on this matter as well. I, for one, am not really impressed by this situation. I don't think anything's going to come of it. I don't think it's even for any vapor product in particular, but it just kind of brings up a few things. First and foremost, I don't think it's for a vaporizer. I don't think it's for anything that will be used for e-cig technology. I don't think it's for anything that can be used in the cannabis industry. I know that a lot of these videos, these BuzzFeed videos and things like that are kind of sensationalizing the story in the sense that they're just speculating that maybe this is for some sort of futuristic iVape or, iWeed or something like that, but I really don't think that's the case. I feel like this is more of something for some small little piece of technology that they're already working with that they just want to improve upon. I don't think it has anything to do with this industry or the cannabis industry or anything like that. It's just so far-fetched, I just don't believe it to be true. And not only that, the drawing that was released, the actual patent drawing itself, doesn't appear to be anything e-cig or cannabis related. It's basically like something like a heated plate, that actually moves down when the material is vaporized, and it just doesn't seem like that something that would be used in our industry. But then again, on the flip side of that, who knows? Who knows what these big giant companies are up to? Obviously, recently we've seen Marlboro, Philip Morris, come out with patents about their own vaporization system, which would use, tobacco and the vaporization process, sort of their own vape or their own mod in a certain sense of the word, and they're spending billions of dollars on this project. So who knows? At this point, nothing's really out of the question as far as that goes. I mean, we might end up seeing the iVape or the iWeed or something like that in our near future. I want to know what you guys think out there. Do you think that the major brands are going to come into play when it comes to vaporization technology? Do you think there will be something out there made by your favorite technology group that will help you one day get your nicotine or weed fix? I want to know in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts down there. But yeah, that's basically what I got for you guys for Vape Drama for this week. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to some advocacy. Rapid fire advocacy. All right, guys, so first up, we've got my home state of Massachusetts introducing a bill that would add a 40% wholesale tax on e-liquid. Now, this is known as SD 171, and it is currently sitting on a committee for revenue. And yeah, this is definitely very similar to the Pennsylvania bill that was introduced last year, although it lacks the 40% floor tax. Although, from what I hear, there is language in there that can be kind of misconstrued as such. So it kind of leaves it a little bit open-ended, and this is definitely something to look out for if you are a Massachusetts resident and you don't want your price of a bottle of e-liquid to go up. I feel like most of the shops are going to eat most of that cost if this does go through, although, you know, this is probably going to raise the cost of a bottle of juice a couple of bucks. It's not an industry-killing bill as of right now as it's, you know, written, but it does have potential to really do some damage. So, of course, sign up for CASA if you're not already a member to be updated on the situation and to be notified about calls to action or anything that's going on as far as action that we can take to prevent this measure. There's also another bill being introduced that's SD 758 that would raise the minimum age to purchase tobacco and vapor products from 18 to 21 across the state. Now, we've been seeing a lot of these little town-wide, you know, age restrictions from 18 to 21. A few townships across Massachusetts have already raised the age to buy tobacco and vapor products, but this bill would essentially make it the entire state. So that can definitely be an issue as well, especially for our industry, because, you know, we want to be available to people that are looking to quit smoking. So, for instance, if there are currently teens that are smoking and they want to quit smoking, they wouldn't have access to vapor products. So that is a major deal for me. You know, obviously, we don't want our kids smoking out there, so this is definitely something to look out for. Again, join CASA if you haven't already. Links are in the description below. Moving on, we have a new UK study, and this is a long-term study out of the UK that shows the effects of vaping. Of course, the results are positive, and yeah, that's really no surprise. I really don't have much to say about this topic because it's no surprise. The UK government has kind of embraced vapor technology and are actually kind of supporting it in a sense, because they're actually pushing people to try vapor products to quit smoking, which is in stark contrast to the US, where most of our, you know, scare tactics, media, you know, fear-mongering goes on, and people are actually almost too afraid to try vaping in the first place because of what the media is saying about it. So yeah, I mean, the new UK study, I guess, is another piece of ammunition for us to use. So this is kind of in line with the Royal College of Physicians study that came out that said that vaping is 95% safer than smoking. And again, this is just kind of one of those things that you can use to the non-vapor, non-believer friends of yours that think that vaping is just as equally as dangerous as smoking. This is going to be the first long-term study on the use of e-cigarettes. So this is kind of big news for us in the US here, because we can learn a lot from the UK in that sense. I mean, our social structure and our media over here is more aligned to sensationalize stories and make things look more dangerous to get ratings and reviews and likes and shares on social media and everything like that. So we can definitely take this information and spread it around to our own friends and family here, and hopefully that message will get out there eventually. But moving on, the next thing I have to talk about is actually the CNN article that scares people about the dangers of teens dripping. Oh no, teens are dripping. I love how this article is really nothing new. This is not really news. It's just kind of digging up something and just trying to make it a big deal, because dripping has been around forever. I actually started my first actual e-cigarette kit was a dripping atomizer. It had a little mesh bridge, and you had to drip the liquid in there every, 5 or 6 puffs, and you had to get 6 drops inside the dripping atomizer. If you got 7, 8, 9, 10, it would leak all over the place. So dripping is not something new. What they're really referring to is, using an actual dripper itself, an RDA, I believe, because they got the science wrong in the article. Basically what they said is they're misusing the e-cigarette, and they're, you know, removing the cartridge and they're dripping directly on the heating element, which is like the most simplified, stupid way to put it. I mean, we all know what they're talking about, but to the layman out there, to the non-vapor, non-smoker, whatever, this is going to sound so scary. It's going to sound like they're modifying these things and, you know, taking a blowtorch to it, when in actuality, they're just using an RDA. And it just goes to show, again, the American way of producing news is just taking a little stupid study that has been rehashed a billion times and sensationalizing it and making it so much more of a big deal than it has to be. And they throw in a whole bunch of stuff here. Let me just boot up the article real quick. So they go in this whole thing about toxic emissions and how if you superheat the e-liquid, the higher temperatures can lead to harmful emissions and everything else. And my whole thing is, well, yeah, if you heat anything to a rate that is above the norm, then there are going to be different chemicals produced. Obviously, this is probably kind of going on the whole Harvard study that was conducted that was later redacted, but that's besides the point. They're using this information that was actually false. They're going off the assumption that there's formaldehyde involved, and it just goes to show how little these people know about this activity. It says, actually, one thing that I wanted to point out was it says in laboratory conditions, they were measured the temperatures and emissions. Yes, in laboratory conditions, which means not using humans. If you had a human case and they are inducing the dry puff phenomenon, then yeah, you're going to have those high levels of toxins created because you're burning something. If you get a dry puff, you are in fact burning something, which under normal circumstances, that doesn't happen. There are a lot of warning signs. And it even says in the article, it mentions that some people think that they can actually see or they can sense that a dry puff is coming. And they by the time they actually sense that it's coming, it's too late. I disagree. I mean, honestly, I sense a dry hit coming a mile away, and I know for a fact that when I first sense something is wrong, my first intuition is to stop doing that and to change the circumstances. So, I don't know. It's just a bunch of bullshit that they just kind of rehash and roll over the actual facts. They go over the whole kids using e-cigarettes thing, how it's gone up 900%. It's increased 900% from 2011 to 2015, according to the report. Okay, yeah, this is not new information. This is something that's been around forever. But along with that information, they don't really say what that has to do with it. They don't show from what to what. So if you go from 1 to 9, that's an increase of 900%. So the study was conducted in 8 southeastern Connecticut high schools during spring of 2015. And it says that the respondents, though some respondents did not answer all the questions, 1,874 students reported having tried an e-cigarette. More than 26% of those who had tried vaping also reported dripping. But they didn't answer how many answered this as opposed to that. So out of those 1,874 students that said that they have tried vaping, this is just speculating, but only a fraction of that could have actually answered the question of whether or not they have tried dripping. So in that sense, they could easily sensationalize that information. And I mean, all this information is right out here, laid right out in front of you. And if you just read through the article, it sounds, not very malicious or anything like that. I mean, obviously it sounds bad to us as vapors, but to an outside, person, this doesn't sound like it's actually trying to rip apart this industry. But in actuality, it's just taking all the true facts, the actual facts about vaping, and just throwing it right out the fucking window because I don't know. This information is nothing new, and I should not be as pissed off as I am about this, but it just goes to show that CNN not only does not know what they're talking about, but it just goes to show how they can spin information, and that's any sort of negative information about vaping. So this just kind of condenses all the other negative vaping articles that are out there into one place. I mean, it goes super in detail about all the different aspects of why dripping is bad and why, you know, teen use has gone up and everything else that can go wrong with an e-cigarette as far as batteries and, you know, people mishandling the e-liquid itself and just everything. It has everything bad about vaping all in one place. So just read through the article. Link will be down in the description below. Make sure you tweet them, comment on their Facebook page, do what you got to do, get the correct information out there, because this will not stand. So that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Of course, leave me comments in the box below about any of the topics that we talked about in this episode. Don't forget to check out the links I have in the description below. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And as always, vape on.